You know, I truly wish that the same publicity and noise that's been made about Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul and Bud versus Canelo, I hope that there was the same hype for this unbelievable fight. Sebastian Fundora, the WBC 154-pound champion of the world, fighting Keith Thurman, and in my opinion, one of the greatest and most exciting and ferocious and violent stylistic fights of our time. Your time and my time, beautiful people. Let's talk about it. You know, whenever I talk about Sebastian Fundora, I always say this. Just imagine being a pro fighter, fighting at 154 pounds. Imagine you receive a contract, and on that contract, you get an offer to fight someone who got unbelievable deadly knockout power in both hands. And the same guy is nearly 6'7", iron chin, heart of a lion, unbelievable fighter on the outside, destroyer, and on the inside, absolute destroyer. And to make matters worse, who is a southpaw, beautiful people. That is the type of problem that you are dealing with when fighting someone like the towering inferno, Sebastian Fundora. And on the other hand, you got Keith one-time Thurman. Everybody loves Keith Thurman. I mean, listen, I've said this before. Keith Thurman is actually the closest thing to being undefeated without actually being undefeated, if you know what I mean. The man only lost once. In his entire illustrious career, the man only lost once to one of the GOATs, Manny Pacquiao. And listen, if someone comes up to me and tells me, hey, listen, I had Keith Thurman beating Pacquiao, I'll be like, hey, listen, I completely get it. The fight was razor close. Now, I did score the fight, I guess, for Manny Pacquiao, but you can definitely make the case, and you're definitely not crazy if you think that Keith Thurman won that fight. On that night, I believe that we saw probably one of the greatest versions of Manny Pacquiao. The man looked simply unstoppable that night. And Keith Thurman took him to hell and back. Now, Sebastian Fundora, let's talk about the champion first, ladies and gentlemen. I love Sebastian Fundora. I love absolutely every single thing about Sebastian Fundora. He is slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite fighters, not just in boxing, but in combat sports, beautiful people. And also, you know, yes, the man is unbelievable. I mean, every single thing about Sebastian Fundora makes you love the man. He's a family man, unbelievable knockout artist, isn't afraid to fight anyone, unbelievably exciting, 6'7", who can fight on the inside. When have we ever seen that? And if you're not sold on Sebastian Fundora, and if he's not your favorite fighter yet, the man literally just got accepted to Harvard. What more do you want, beautiful people? The man got everything it takes to become the face of PBC boxing, Premier Boxing Champions. And, you know, how can you not even love the Fundora family? The brother is a champion. The sister, Gabriela Fundora, is the undisputed world champion. Their father is their trainer. Unbelievable, humble family, living in a farm in the mountains in Coachella, California. And even we saw in even when we saw in the countdown for Fundora versus Tim Tszyu, the man also trains not just with his father and his sister, but also baby sister. I mean, they're building her and they are designing her to become the next face of boxing. All my respect goes to the Fundora family. Now, like I said, when you fight Sebastian Fundora, you gotta pick your poison. The man can destroy you and absolutely pepper you on the outside and knock you out on the outside range. And the man can also destroy you and change your facial structure on the inside with his violent and brutal uppercuts. When have we ever seen someone throw the lead uppercut and the back uppercut in a combination that's so vicious and violent that it can knock you out at any given second. And you know what's actually scary about Sebastian? The man is getting better. The man is 27 years old. The man is so humble, he's so gracious. He's like a movie character. He wears his glasses. He looks like a nerd. He looks like a scientist. But the second that he takes off his glasses and puts on his gloves and enters the ring, he becomes probably the most violent 154-pounder on earth. But the reason why I love this fight and I love this stylistic matchup is because of also who he's fighting, beautiful people. He is fighting one time, Keith Thurman. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. When I was a kid, when I wasn't really that much of a hardcore boxing fan, I remember when Keith fought Jose Cito Lopez and Manny Pacquiao, and I definitely was a fan of Keith Thurman, but the older I'm getting, the more I'm starting to appreciate the skill level and the IQ and the arsenal of none other than Keith Thurman. His lateral movement and his footwork, he does nothing fancy, but he does the basics exceptionally well like no other. He can move side to side, and in any split second, he explodes and destroys you. Now the man doesn't have a lot of knockouts, especially when we talk about the past few years. He did knock out Brock Jarvis in his last fight, and let me tell you, my God, he looked absolutely unbelievable. And yes, Brock Jarvis isn't a world beater. He isn't the greatest fighter on earth. But, hold on a second. But, listen, Brock Jarvis is young, hungry, and he got power. And Keith Thurman dealt with him. Keith Thurman didn't play around with him. He knocked him out in less than 10 minutes. In less than 7 minutes. Absolutely annihilated him. After taking nearly 3 years off. And even after fighting Manny Pacquiao, he took nearly 3 years off and came back and destroyed Mario Barrios. And I love Mario Barrios. I think that Mario Barrios is one of the most underrated fighters in the sport. And Keith Thurman just came off the couch and absolutely destroyed him. Changed his facial structure. Mario looked unrecognizable after that fight. So, listen, when you talk about the stylistic matchup, let's get back to Keith Thurman for a second. My God, Keith Thurman is unbelievable. There was this narrative a few years ago that he ducked Spence. I don't really know the facts, to be honest, but one thing I can tell you, I promise you, beautiful people, that if he, prime Thurman versus prime Errol Spence, that would have been one of the most exciting and violent fights ever in the welterweight division. But now, we probably are getting a better fight in a greater stylistic matchup. Sebastian Fundora versus Keith Thurman. I love everything about this fight, and like I said, I promise you, beautiful people, I promise you that when it's all said and done, after this fight ends on October 25th, we're gonna be talking about this fight for decades to come. I promise you. Because both men got unbelievable power. Both men got unbelievable chins. Both men got hearts of lions. And both men, most importantly, are elite. And some might say that this is Keith Thurman's last roll at the dice. If Keith Thurman loses this fight, he might retire. But let me tell you, listen, I gotta favor Sebastian Fundora, but you're out of your mind if you don't think that Keith Thurman can't beat, and not just beat, but also knock out Sebastian Fundora. Listen, even though Sebastian got knocked out versus Brian Mendoza, but let me tell you, beautiful people, I promise you, Sebastian Fundora got one of the best chins at 154. And it's not the shot that's powerful that knocks you out, it's the shot that you don't see. And that hook from Mendoza, Fundora never saw coming. And if you actually go back and rewatch that fight, Sebastian was dominating the fight. He was absolutely destroying Brian Mendoza. And after that fight, even though Mendoza knocked him out, but Mendoza never looked the same after that fight, beautiful people. Because of the punishment that he took in just 6 rounds. And if you go back and watch that fight, Fundora didn't play around. He just stood in close range and started to let off power shots from the first second until the second that he got knocked out. So all I'm saying is this, beautiful people. When Keith Thurman, the great Keith Thurman, steps into the ring with the young, future great possibly, Sebastian Fundora, when they both meet in the middle of the squared circle, I promise you, you're not going to want to miss it. Because without a doubt, it is about to be one of the most violent fights of our time. And I can't wait for the fight to happen. And I'm going to keep talking about this fight probably every single day until it happens. Because I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited about the fight. I'm going to be talking about every single detail in the upcoming weeks until we get the fight. And my God, stay tuned, beautiful people, because war is incoming.